Hey guys, True Grit Scott Bulletproof saws. Working on a couple 660 Pros. I got two of them. I got one that is a stock one. I just put fuel in them, threw bar oil in them just to make sure everything's working. Went through, did a little bulletproofing on this, tightened up all the loose bolts. A couple things I want to tell you guys on these 660 Pros. Check your clutch drum. This one here, the clutch wasn't screwed on all the way. So when I went to take it off, the E-clip holding on my rim, my sprocket there, I couldn't get it off. It was like wedged in there, and if you pulled the recoil, the whole thing was spinning like it was all locked together, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? This is kind of odd. So turns out that the clutch itself was spun up, wasn't secured down all the way, it wasn't tightened, so it was halfway up the threads. So when they threw the clutch drum on and the sprocket and the washer and the E-clip and everything, to be honest with you, I don't know how they got it on, because I couldn't get it off without breaking it. I was starting to think that maybe maybe the crank was real off-centered. If you off-center the crank towards the flywheel side, you could run out of room to get your washer and your E-clip on there. So that's what I thought it was originally. I take a look. Now that's not what it was, because I pull off the cylinder, take a look at the cylinder, Loctite, all that kind of stuff. But that's just one thing for you guys to be aware of. Watch that. The cylinder was actually loose. It wasn't tightened as much as I wanted it to be, so I torqued that down. The other thing that was real loose was the screws holding on the muffler into the cylinder. They were real loose too, and I really don't like what Farmertec is doing with the two screws, bolts at the bottom that hold the muffler cover on, that go right into the magnesium of the case. I really do not like what they're doing there. It almost looks like they're cutting threads with the screws. So I can see that being a problem, and if you didn't check all of that stuff, these two might be real tight, because I think they cut the threads with the screws. I'm not sure. Anyhow, pulled them out, cleaned out all the junk, Loctited them, went through the whole bulletproof on this, but this is a stock saw. That's not so interesting. This one I started playing with a little bit, and what I did here, and I put a heavy duty handle on that, but it's not the wrap handle, and I went with the Farmertec full wrap on this just so we could see the difference. Didn't tune either of these saws. They're not tuned at all. I didn't touch the carbs even. Went through the whole bulletproof thing on this, but I also bumped up the compression a little bit with a base gasket delete. Problem is, guys, when you go to do squish on these Italy Tech cylinders, not a problem. These are just things that we work through, guys. When I say problem, maybe I'm not choosing the correct words. It makes it sound like these are big major. They're not big major catastrophes. I'm nitpicking here. I do a lot of saws, and I'm being nitpicky, but these are things that I think we can do. When you pull the cylinder on these, there's 4 casting marks at the top of the squish band. Those come down about 20 thousandths. So if you're setting your squish at 20 thousandths, you're going to have a problem. Your piston is going to hit those marks. They're little tiny marks. They're the size of a comma on a typewritten page. Maybe a little bit bigger than a comma, but just to give you an idea of the size. And what's going to happen is your piston's going to hit them in 4 places if they're all 20 thousandths. Maybe one's 25 thousandths, maybe one's 15. I don't know. I didn't measure them. I'm just telling you they look about 20 thousandths to me. So if you do your squish, you can run into a problem where your piston's going to hit those. I don't know, if your piston hits 4 commas, how bad is it going to be? I don't know, I don't want it, so I did a little bit of squish band work on this, which I wasn't prepared to do, but I did it. Got the squish band work done, put a ProFlow. I wanted a foam filter on this too. Opened up the exhaust. The other big thing that I did on this saw is I put a much lighter piston in it. The Meteor piston is heavy. And I had a bunch of lighter pistons. I have another video on it. So I went with a lighter piston, and I think that I shaved off probably more than half of an ounce of piston weight on this one. So I'm curious to see how that's going to perform with these little bump ups. You know, you got intake, you got exhaust, you got a little bit better, you got much better squish, and you have a lighter piston. So I'm curious. I did a first start, didn't do anything, ran them for 30 seconds, nothing else, just to get an idea of what they were like. I'm going to start this one, run it real quick, set it on the ground. I'm going to start the other one, run it real quick, set it on the ground. That's the video. I'm going to put bars on these this week and make some videos of them both cutting, just to see what a half-ounce lighter piston and a couple little upgrades does to the saw. Again, I very much like these Farmertec Italy Tech Meteor looking pistons. I really like them. We'll see. This has been a while now, so I don't know if I have to choke this or not. We'll see if we start it. I imagine you can't tell anything there, me just revving a saw. Oh, the other thing I did do is I threw caber rings on the saw. But the Meteor actually comes with the caber rings, so this is the heavier piston in a stock saw. I'm curious. Now you better start right up too. Well, there was no reason that shouldn't have started. Hasn't been that long since I ran them. I'm going to choke it, and I'll probably screw myself here on video for you. Oh, thank God. Again, I didn't tune a thing on these saws. Come on. Really? Why are you being so ignorant? Well, that's not too friggin' impressive. Well, that was just being ignorant. That's all it was. I just don't know how to start a saw, apparently. Again, I didn't tune either of those saws. They are how they came out of the box, and they always need tuning. They're always pig rich. So what I'll do for the next video is I'll see where each of those carbs were set at, just because I'm guessing this one was more pig rich than that one. That's just luck of the draw there, because I didn't do anything to them. It's not because of the mods I did that it started better. This one just wasn't getting fuel. Again, I like these Pro Saws really, really well. I can't wait to put them in wood, and I'm curious to see on video if you guys, if you could notice a difference or hear a difference. I mean, granted, that one should be a little louder because I did a little bit of exhaust work on it, but I wouldn't think it's all that much louder, but I guess the video will tell me. And you guys can make fun of me for not being able to start a saw. I don't know, it was just a quick video to show you the two saws that I'm working on, and I I still have the 372 XP Pro in parts on deck, just because I was going to do a quick 372 build at the same time. That what I wanted to do was port that cylinder, and I'm not the 372 expert, guys, so my porting, I think I can get it done, but I'm not going to claim to be Donnie Walker on that one, or somebody who's a 372 expert. But I think we can get a little more power out of it, and then we'll maybe see how the one I build compares to the 372 Pro, and I'm gonna have to see if I have a carb for that one. Anyhow, we got things to do. It's getting dark. Hopefully you guys can still see me, and I'm gonna call it a wrap for the night. Have a beer and some dinner. Anyhow, guys, True Grit Scott, Bulletproof Sauce. Thanks for watching, and stay safe.